going to take you around to the front of this neighborhood. Again, this is the farm at Brunswick in Carolina Shores, and these neighbors are kind of just milling around. You look up right here, you're looking at a roof that is just completely demolished on this side. Breaking news at 11, Leland police are on the scene right now of a death investigation. Police say it happened on WBNS Road around 9 p.m. Actually, we're getting one of those gusts of wind right now where the wind really picks up and the rain just comes down on you. We got here a little while ago, like I said. The drive down here was not too bad at first, but conditions were getting worse. Law enforcement officers found Smith holding a woman at gunpoint in a car back behind several businesses here on West Broad Street. I think we can all say it was a whirlwind of a day and such an exciting day for everyone here in Wilmington, especially those veterans out on the battleship this afternoon. Now again, President Trump officially declared Wilmington today the first World War II heritage city in the entire nation. The search for what the New Hanover County Sheriff's Office calls a violent suspect ended right here behind me. Neighbors who heard it all unfold say it happened in just seconds. Over the weekend, a swimmer drowned in Surf City. The Surf City Fire Department says they were called about a swimmer in distress near North Shore Drive just after 12:30 yesterday afternoon. Rescue crews from Pender EMS and Fire and the Surf City Fire Department tried to resuscitate the victim, but the person did not survive. Each bus will now have an iPad with an individualized route. Plus, each parent can now track their child's bus when they download the app straight to their phone. One person has been injured and 2 homes here on Concord Street are a total loss. Now you can see behind me a few crews are still on the scene putting out a few hot spots.
You don't ever move on, you just have to move forward. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. There have been days, that we barely seem to function, and you really don't have a choice.
It's a void that'll forever linger for the family of slain trooper Kevin Connor.
It's the day-to-day that's the hardest, him not coming home every day and not being here on those holidays and those special times.
All of the family vacations or holidays or all of the memories are my favorite,
Each October, Miranda Connor Ellington says she and her children feel an overwhelming sense of dread. The overnight hours of October 17th in 2018 will forever be ingrained in her memory.
You never prepare yourself for that as a law enforcement wife. You know that it could happen and you hope that it never will. And so when that knock came at the door, that's something that I'll never forget as long as I live. I'll never forget having to come home and tell my children that their dad wasn't coming home.
At a traffic stop at the end of his shift, State Trooper Kevin Connor was shot and killed in the line of duty.
I don't know, everything was a blur after Mama told me.
He died doing something that he loved and that he will forever and ever be a hero.
For 11 years, Connor served the State Highway Patrol.
Kevin was the type of person that when he walked into a room, he lit up the whole room with his smile, and everybody was drawn to him. And it was just so amazing after to hear the stories of people that would come up and say, well, Kevin was my best friend, and people that I had never even met that thought they were best friends with Kevin because that's how he made you feel.
From a public servant to just dad for Briley Connor.
My best friend, we always talk about how he always used to make us laugh.
But his loss never gets easier.
He was what we should all aspire to be as humans. His heart was in service and his heart was in people. He was one of the good ones.
Now his death is helping other law enforcement families. Connor's Law, named in his honor, pushes for harsher punishments when an officer is killed or injured in the line of duty and provides more compensation for their families.
It's something that the kids can always be proud of, that something good perhaps can come out of tragedy. I don't ever want his name to be forgotten. I want people to say his name. I want people to remember those stories. Remember what a good friend, what a good husband and father that he was, and what a good state trooper he was.
Every part of the restaurant is needing some type of repair. Every hour there's a new problem that we have to fix. It was devastating, to say the least. I've been through Hurricane Matthew, Hurricane Dorian. Florence was very significant, but this damage was the worst of all the storms.
We probably had about 3 feet of water in there.
Day 2 of cleanup for Southport. Down at the old yacht basin, some restaurants have many more days of cleanup ahead.
We've been through the full moon and the storm surge with Matthew, and water did get into the building, but we were not anticipating the amount of water that got in and how intense the water was. So it's a lot. The water line is at least 3 feet inside the kitchen.
On top of the flooding, the owner of Fishy Fishy says they lost docks, siding, and equipment. Across the street, Flava's Ice Cream says they're lucky to not have lost more.
Just a lot of junk everywhere. Most of the time in the past, we're used to this being on the waterfront, but because it came so quickly and picked up speed so much, we didn't expect everything, so we did come into a big mess.
Manager Mariah Smith says they lost a few coolers and had some roof damage. And on top of the pandemic, Isaias added a whole new layer of setbacks.
It's just heartbreaking for the whole town. You know, my heart goes out to everybody, every restaurant, every business that has gone through COVID and now this storm.
Over at American Fish Company, an employee says it's going to be a full rebuild. He says a tornado picked up the building and dropped it back down, leaving it teetering on the foundation.
We're resilient people, so hopefully we'll be able to open everything back up.
You know, just coming together as a community and supporting one another, that's going to be crucial for us to get back open.
Motherly instinct to protect my son. They weren't going to get past me to get to him.
Monica Shepard and her son Damien never expected to be greeted at their Pender County home with that scene Sunday night.
I was playing my video games as usual, and I hear a banging on the door.
Damien says he opened the door to find 15 people, some holding guns, including an off-duty deputy from the New Hanover County Sheriff's Office, all at his doorstep.
They came to my door saying they were looking for a missing girl. They were given my address and my name, and that they were going to come in and look for her.
Despite the graduation sign in the front yard clearly showing he had a different name, he says they kept pushing. Damien says he tried to tell them his name, holding his ground. That's when his mom jumped in.
And he stated it again. Well, I'm just going to step inside and close the door and talk to you guys. And I said, no, you're not.
That's when Shepard says the deputy stuck his foot in the door, trying to push his way in.
I'm just like, my name is Damien, my name is Damien. You guys, I go to Laney High School. I graduated, my sign's on the lawn.
Finally, they say the group left and Shepard called the sheriff's office. That deputy, Jordan Kidda, now charged with trespassing and breaking and entering. Not only that, District Attorney Ben David announcing he's been terminated from the New Hanover County Sheriff's Office.
One thing that we absolutely make certain of is that anyone who's violating the law be treated the same.
We didn't want to rush to any hasty decisions. We wanted to make an informed decision. The situation was diffused, and we didn't feel like there was any further threat that evening.
Still shaken, Shepard says things could have ended much differently.
It didn't have to go that way, and just thankful that it turned out the way it did.